For 33 years, I've been married to a woman who defines our relationship is a mutual relationship in which I'm expected to be the mute. Not a good joke, perhaps, but that's the case in many, many husband-wife relationships, where, in fact, the husband wears the pants and the woman is muzzled, and that's the way it's expected to be. But not in the case of Jack and Colleen St. Arnaud, two international, truly global business enthusiasts, business partners, entrepreneurs. Tell me, does romance suffer sometimes when you're in business together? Is that the price of being successful together, Jack?
Absolutely not, Norm, and I really feel that romance is a big part of our success in business.
Are you sitting that closely together because of the advantage of the studio?
Because he likes me.
Because he likes you? Well, I can understand why. You're an intensely attractive woman, and I'm sure everybody knows that. Do you get jealous of that? Do you get jealous of the fact that as you go as a couple together in business, you do a lot of multi-level marketing? You're, of course, in the cattle business. You trade with Mexico. You fly through Australia. You flew down to this interview. You crisscross the United States of America. Do you get jealous sometimes, Jack, that people notice the elegance and the sensuality and the sexuality and the capability of your partner?
Absolutely not. And I really feel that a successful partner, which makes us a powerful team, is part of the success in life.
You're pretty elegant yourself.
Thank you, Norm.
As a matter of fact, a lot of women have made that comment about your partner. Do you feel that sense of jealousy?
I feel proud of him.
You feel proud of him?
Absolutely.
Well, are you that secure, the two of you, that you have no sense of envy about the other party, no sense of jealousy? You share the platform a lot of time together. Do you ever ask, was he better than I was? Do you ever ask, was she better than I was? Doesn't that irritate? I mean, are you that perfect romantic couple that these little edges of irritation never creep into your relationship?
I believe we're our own best coaches.
Yeah.
How come?
I always coach Colleen. She asks me what she can do to improve herself, and I do the same.
So your business partner, husband or wife, has to be your best friend.
Absolutely.
Your biggest critic, your biggest complimenter.
And your
How
biggest
do you do
cheerleader.
That? And your biggest cheerleader. How do you do that,
Absolutely.
Colleen? That's not easy. I mean, you know, you say that, but how does it happen? A lot of husbands and wives may know that out there,
Yeah.
but relationships aren't that simple. How do you acquire that? How do you achieve that?
Because Jack and I have sat down, and together we've decided what our goals are. So we focus on what our end result is going to be.
And what if you disagree on goals?
We have agreed sometimes to disagree.
Okay, agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
Okay. Work your goals out together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for the most part, Jack and I are very focused on what is important to us.
Now, what do
and
you
what
mean by work
successes
goals
we
out?
want to.
Do you write them down? Do you
Yes.
speak them out?
Absolutely. And we have a thing we do every New Year's Day.
You do that
every
so
year.
nicely.
Feels great.
That's part
It
of
does feel
romance,
great.
you know.
That's part of the
Yeah.
romance.
How long have you
Romance is our hobby, one of our hobbies. And
How long
we
have you
just-
been married?
13 years this year.
Well, congratulations. Romance is one of your hobbies.
Yeah,
That's
and we
an
practice
interesting way
it.
to put that. And you enjoy romance.
Absolutely.
You were mentioning flying down here and you're playing together and being up there looking at the great globe and still feeling a tremendous sense of romance, a mystique, a magic. But it dies so often in husband-wife relationships. The price of a successful husband-wife business is a disastrous romantic life. The mystique disappears. How do you keep the magic? How do you keep the mystique alive?
We keep romance as a priority, and
As a
we look at
priority.
life as an adventure. We
Okay.
really do. And years ago, because when I married very young, we were both 20 years old, I did think
Precocious.
your man is supposed to make romance happen. But I learned later on that women have to take responsibility. If you want more romance in your life, you put more romance in.
What does that mean specifically?
means
Does that
you
mean
can-
wearing sensual lingerie, dancing in with a cocktail when your man comes home? Isn't that all old-fashioned? What does romance mean in specifics from a woman's point of view today? What do you have to do to make your partner, your colleague, your friend, your husband feel alive and vibrant in a man? What do you do specifically?
Number one, I think you have to show respect for your partner and he for you. Because if you have that mutual respect for each other, it's very easy to do the kind of things you talked about. And you can light the candles in your bedroom and then it's wonderful. But if you don't have an underlying respect for that person, it won't come about. And that's when you expect him to do everything for you. And that doesn't work.
Jack, what do you respect about this woman?
I really respect her vision, the way that she is romantic. Colleen is, how could I say, she has a mind that continues to work all the time, and she dreams up different
spontaneous.
things. Spontaneous things, and I think that's great. Whether it be a hug or just whatever, we've always got romance in our mind, and we enjoy life. And I guess we always believe that you get what you believe you'll get. And
in other words, you almost
can choose.
image where you're going to go.
Absolutely.
And that really works. People talk about it today,
Oh.
imaging, and a lot of people think it's a bunch of pap. Some of the people watching this program will think it's a bunch of pap. What do you mean, image where you're going to be? You actually have done this. You imaged to be successful entrepreneurs. You imaged to have the kind of ranch you live in, the kind of stock you produce, the kind of employees you have. You've actually imaged all this?
Absolutely.
And it's worked.
Our goals, the goals that we set, we specify our goals and we set them by specific dates. And I can honestly tell you that I achieve probably
By
90
dates?
by dates. I'll write a goal down.
What happens if you fail?
Well, sometimes you do have to change your goals or review your goals, and sometimes you make slight changes to them.
Review your goals.
Always review your goals. On a weekly basis, review those goals, even on a daily basis.
Okay.
Know where you're going. It gives you some place to head to.
Jack, Colleen's going to die someday. I don't say that with any kind of
Right.
expectation that's positive, but she's going to die someday. You know that Jack's going to die someday. Can you carry on despite this closeness? You have this romance, this intimacy, this great love affair, this sexuality, this compatibility. Can you sense that there'll be a magnificent void in your life and you'll just come to a grinding halt? Or do you think you'll carry on?
I think that you have to carry on because we're not totally dependent on each other. We're independent people who happen to be in love with each other.
Okay, it's a lovely way of putting it.
And Jack and I, for many years now, I guess maybe 8 years now, have really decided that one of our main goals in life is to try and be the best we can be.
Okay.
And
General
that-
analysis, then, isn't the whole moral behind a husband and a wife in business is not to just be lovers, but to be friends, to be complementary critics, to stand by each other, to have a sense of humor about the frailties, but to know that in the final analysis, if you try your best and you are constantly striving to evolve and change, you will continue to make love until you die.
Does your business or profession interfere with your romance? Do you feel envy, jealousy, or pride over the achievements of your spouse? When agreement is impossible, can you agree to disagree without losing the respect or the support of the other?
If this excited you, if the actual case studies of people you listen to talking about real problems and real solutions exhausted you, I'm sure they also stimulated you, because there's a lot of emotional energy that went into this film, which says, in fact, that on this program, we're not talking about some third-party situation. We're talking about you. We're talking about me. We're talking about sitting in a hotel room and listening to actual examples of ways we can enhance our parenting, our spousal relationships, our business relationships, and our enjoyment of life and of ourselves in a very tough and a very competitive world. We've talked about a lot of myths, and we've tried to dispel a lot of those myths, and we've encouraged you to remember them. The myth that says, don't rock the boat, because if you don't go according to the tide, you're never going to make it. We now know that if we're going to have the capacity to handle a stormy sea, we've got to be our own captain. We've got to navigate our own trail. We've got to take risks, and we have to take chances. You've heard the myth that says just because we work with family members, whether it's a husband or a wife or a child, we've got to like them. But that's not the most important thing. If we are to work in family relationships, in business together, we have to respect them. We have to respect their right to be different. We have to respect their right to have a different value system. And we've got to keep working nonstop at this. So, if this has made you a better human being, it has more than rewarded us. And we're looking to a continuing relationship with you in the future.
Share your expectations, dreams, and disappointments with each other. No one is a mind reader. Don't expect that the relationship will always be the same. Evolve and change with each other. Put effort into the relationship, or like your muscles, they'll become limp. Work at your relationships. Agree to disagree. Just because you disagree, it doesn't mean you don't like each other anymore. Don't criticize the person, but his or her behavior. I don't appreciate your messiness is much better than I hate you. Set aside something special that's just ours. Choose words, places, or activities that just the two of you can share.